Chasing Cash Card. So it has a 5% back on office supply stores, internet, cable, and phone, up to $25,000 combined spend. Meaning, like, you could spend $5,000 on office supply stores, another 10 or whatever on internet, another 10 on cable, and that's $25,000 spent. So up to that. Then from there, if I'm not mistaken, I believe it goes back down to 1% on back. But for the first $25,000 spend, you're getting 5% back. Then you get 2% back at gas stations and 2% back at restaurants. And then from there, 1% back on everything else. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Walk 12 podcast. If you're tuning in on YouTube or any of the podcast directories, make sure to do us one teeny tiny little favor and make sure to give us a follow, because I don't want you to miss out on any of the amazing episodes we got coming on. Without further ado, let's get right into this one. So if we're picking up in a story, the last episode I just gave you guys a master class on, well, I wouldn't really call it a masterclass, but a class on how to understand building your credit, like what factors actually go into making up your credit score. So if you haven't watched that, make sure to go tap into that one and then tap into this. It's going to make more sense, because up to this point in the story, I got my Bank of America card, I have my self credit card, right? Or my self account, not the self credit card. Sorry, I would not recommend getting a self credit card, right? And then from there, I got my first Chase card. I got the Chase trifecta. It took me a little while. And then from there, I was at this point where I was thinking, all right, so now we're in like fall of 2021 now. And I'm like, alrighty, I just got licensed as a realtor. You know, I want to start becoming more of a business owner. So let me start looking into business credit. You feel me? And the main reasons I want to start looking into business credit is, one, I want to start building it, one. And this time, as I said, I just got into real estate. So I want to start building my real estate business credit for. Also, I wanted to keep my real estate and my personal expenses separate, right? I wanted to, when you become a business owner and you're self-employed, it can get very easy to commingle. And now this is not tax advice at all, but if your pocket's not that big, the IRS is not really worried about you. Feel me? So you're not really don't have to be too much worried. At least I'm not, personally. I'm not telling you guys any advice, but for me, from what I've learned is, like, the IRS isn't worried about people that aren't really making that much money. I wasn't making that much money, but still, I wanted to keep my personal and my business expenses separate, mainly for tax purposes. So I got a CPA in 2022. I filed my taxes with a CPA, or for the 2021 tax report, I was filed with a CPA, mainly because I just didn't want to do it. Like, I felt I could have done it. As I said, I wasn't making that much money, so filing it probably wouldn't have been that hard. But I was just like, I'd rather not do it. Like, just give it to the people that know what they're doing, I feel, personally, and leverage out. That's my thought on it. And then the last main reason why I wanted to get business credit is that it doesn't report to your personal credit report. So it's like, those are the three reasons that really interested me on getting business credit. And I started doing a lot of research, and I'll see all these YouTube videos on, like, people like, you got to open up like net 30 accounts and net 45 and net 60 accounts. It started getting pretty complicated pretty quickly. And I was like, okay, I see what they're getting at, but I didn't really understand. And so from there, I was like, well, let me just open up a regular business credit card instead of doing whatever these other people are saying. Not because they were wrong. I just felt like it was a lot of work. I wasn't really willing to put in all that extra work. So I started looking at credit cards, and I stumbled across the Chase Inc. cards. Now, Chase Inc. is Chase's business credit line, at least their main business credit line. And from there, so after doing a ton of research, I was like, all right, I want to get the Chase Inc. Cash card. Now, let me tell you about this Chase Inc. Cash card, the CIC, right? It had a welcome bonus of $750 cash back, or 75,000 points, for $6K spent in 3 months, right? And I was like, all right, $6K spend, that's like about 2 bands a month almost. And I don't be spending that kind of money. So here's the dark side of this whole credit journey. There's a lot of time that I overspent money that I shouldn't have had to, and had to tap into my savings in order to bail myself out. Now, I always had money saved to bail myself out, which is another lesson of making sure you got money if you want to play this game. And I'll be fully transparent. I'm not the most disciplined. I'm not the most budgeted. I'm not the most well put together. It may seem as if I am this, big credit mogul and my personal finance are all in check. Like, I still got, as of the time of recording this, I have business credit card debt. So it's like, Luckily, it doesn't report my personal credit report, but man, you can get trigger happy really quickly, and next thing you know, you're behind, and it's just racking up interest. And I'll be fully transparent. I got nothing to hide to you guys. As I said, this is my walk to up. This is the dark side that no one wants to tell you about. But back to the Chasing Cash card, right? So it has a 5% back on office supply stores, right? Internet, cable, and phone up to 25,000 combined spend. Meaning like you could spend 5,000 on office supply stores, another 10 or whatever on internet, another 10 on cable, and that's 25,000 spent. So up to that. Then from there, if I'm not mistaken, I believe it goes back down to 1% back. But for the first 25,000 spend, you're getting 5% back. I ain't spending $25,000. So at least as of right now. So that was for me at that time. I was like, all right, boom. Then you get 2% back at gas stations and 2% back at restaurants. And then from there, 1% back on everything else. And on top of that, it's $0 annual fee, and it has an intro APR of 0% for the first 12 months. Now, remember what I said, like your business credit, at least with these cards, doesn't report to your personal credit report. So if you do have a balance, it doesn't really matter as much as long as you pay it off eventually, right? And so for me, I would always recommend, as I said, paying everything in full at the end of the month. But to be fully transparent with you guys, like I still have a balance on that card. That card is maxed out, to be fully transparent with you guys. And I'm working on paying that off now. And so around this time, now we're getting into winter of 2022, or at least like early 2022. Around that time, I got this card and I'm like, all right, how am I going to hit this crazy welcome bonus? Right? So I knew there was a Keller Williams conference coming up. So I ended up spending the money on my card to go to the Keller Williams conference. And then, if I'm not mistaken, I bought the tickets to go to Quantum Leap that year as well, all on that card. And then for my car, I'm not going to lie. So I got a 2012 Honda Accord. I got it from a dealership. I probably overpaid, honestly. But I didn't really know much about cars. So that's a lesson to be learned there. Is like, do not rush. And so what I did is, because I was so trigger happy and trying so hard to get this welcome bonus for a car that I didn't really have the money to be spending anyways, that I rushed the process and I ended up paying for my down payment for the car with my credit card just so I could hit the welcome bonus, even though I didn't really have the money to spend at that time. But I was so hard pressed on trying to make sure I hit that welcome bonus that, I didn't really care. And I pretty much made a bad financial decision there. I hit the welcome bonus. I did get the 75,000 points, but it definitely wasn't the best financial decision at all, just to get some points. And then from there, some time had passed, and then I ended up getting the Chase Ink Unlimited card. Now the Ink Unlimited also has a 75,000 reward bonus on a 6K spend in 3 months. So I had no business really getting the card, honestly. And for that card, I didn't even hit the welcome bonus for that one. So I got the card essentially for like no reason. Because the only reason I apply for these cards is to get the welcome bonus, and I missed it by like a mile. Like I wasn't even close to hitting that one. And so for the Chase Ink Unlimited, now it has 1.5% on everything, no matter what the category is. And then it also has $0 annual fee and 0% APR for the first 12 months. Right, so that card, to be fully transparent with you guys as well, I currently still have a balance on. I've maxed that card out. Now I got approved for, if I'm not mistaken, like 5,000 on the Chase Ink Cash. If I'm not mistaken, it went up. It got bumped up, but it wasn't originally Chase at 5,000. I forget what I originally got approved for, and then from there they bumped me up to 5,000, and then the Chase Ink Unlimited, I have a balance of 3,000, or a credit limit of 3,000. Now, both of those cards are maxed out. I'm not going to lie to you guys. So I'm working on paying those cards off right now. My goal is for the end of 2023 to be completely debt-free. So that's car, student loans, and credit card debt. Now, luckily, all my credit card debt is on my business credit card, so it gives me some time to maneuver. But I'm not going to lie. This credit card game can make you spend money that you don't need to be spending. And that's the cold, hard truth. So as I said, I do got a bunch of benefits and perks and stuff like that, but I done made some bad decisions, right? I'm not perfect. I'm not the world's greatest personal finance person, but I know a thing or two about a thing or two. And like, these are the scars, the battle lessons that I'm going through right now so that you don't have to go through, right? Make sure you know going into a car. Like, I don't normally ever spend $2,000 a month, right? I'm nowhere ever near that. My living expenses and my business expenses don't even come up close to that. And so it's like, I had no business getting that card. So unless you have a really big purchase that you plan on doing and you already have the money saved to make the purchase, I wouldn't recommend getting cards that you normally don't spend. So like, for example, the Amex Platinum card, at least the business one, if I'm not mistaken, it's like $15,000 spent in 3 months or 6 months, if I'm not mistaken. Either way, no matter how you do the math, I don't spend that much money. So like, that card would be a reach for me to get. Both of these Chase Ink cards, although they're amazing cards and I highly recommend them, I got them too soon. And I put myself in a bad financial position to do so, right? And one of them, I didn't even get the welcome bonus that I was trying so hard to get. So I put myself in a bad financial situation for essentially no reason, for no reward. So I said, amazing cards. Highly recommend the Chase Ink cards, but make sure that your monthly spend is already naturally somewhere near that and you're doing fine, so that you don't have to overextend yourself or overspend just to get a card and maybe get the welcome bonus like I did, right? So that's pretty much for this episode. In the next one, I'm going to be telling you guys how I got Marriott Platinum Elite status, how I get to go to lounges, how I get complimentary breakfast, how I get room upgrades, how I get late checkout, you feel me? All the benefits and reward whenever I go to the Marriott hotel. So that's going to be in the next episode. So I will see you guys in the next one.